All hands, this is the captain. Prep your grav couches and get ready for the juice, because we're about to flip and burn and head back into the Expanse. This will be a high-G manoeuvre. My name's Andy, and I'm joined by the waking Leviathan that is Mr. Elton McManus. How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad, but you got some like crystals over your eyes and stuff like that. I'm pretty worried about that sort of stuff.
No, I'm mostly better now. I'm
Yeah?
mostly better. It apparently wasn't the proto molecule. It was just a rather bad cold. So there you go. I still have a bit of a cough though. So.
Closely linked to man flu, though. Yes.
Very closely linked to man flu.
Very
I mean, it goes cold, man flu, proto molecule. That's
Yeah.
like the order there.
And the gap between
And I think Ebola's somewhere between the cold and man flu. So.
it is, yes, but you know,
So yeah, but thank you for your concern. I'm mostly better now, and hopefully will not be sprouting any crystals anytime soon.
Good stuff.
Although there has been a rather dodgy scientist I've seen eyeing me recently, so that's not a good sign. But we'll just have to we'll ease it out and see where we go.
Yeah.
But we are here. We finally made it to the end of season 1.
we've done season 1, man.
I know,
Wicked.
right? I bet you never thought you'd do that. How many other episodes ago this was? 10
No.
episodes.
I'm surprised, and I'm surprised in the fashion we've done it as well. We're on time and everything.
Shh, don't jinx it, man. We've still got to record this episode.
It's true. Oh, I might balls it up now, but
Yeah, the entire server blows up or something like that. But alright, cool. But yeah, we're here to talk about the last episode of season 1, Leviathan Wakes. Before I get into the synopsis, initial thoughts?
better second time round. There was a lot of walking around in tunnels where it just felt a little padded. And,
So you've watched this twice
Yep.
before we've done this, yeah?
Yep,
Okay.
I have. And it felt slightly padded when they were underneath Eros in the basement, shall we say? But there was some really good stuff as well.
There was some really good stuff. I do think this works better when it's played back to back with episode 9.
I can see exactly what you mean by that. Yeah, I think, you need to binge the first 2 episodes and the last 2 episodes. They need to be in one sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's a top tip for you who have been following along and have last week listened to the last episode and now listen to this one. Forget everything you've done. Just go back and watch them both back to back. You'll enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah, do it all over again. You'll be alright.
Do over. It's fine though. This is a show you can imminently watch multiple times. But as is tradition, the synopsis for tonight's episode. Miller, Holden and his crew fight their way to the Rocinante to escape Eros, and on Earth, Avasarala fears for the stability of Earth's government and her family's safety. Pretty much tying up, well, I won't say tying up, but certainly the culmination of everything that we've led to so far.
Yeah, this is, I think you've said it before, just in case it didn't get picked up for a second season. It's nicely wrapped up, and so it could be like a Firefly in the future, but, thankfully, it isn't. There are more seasons to enjoy.
I feel I would be very annoyed if they'd ended it here.
It would be a bit of a gut punch, wouldn't it?
Especially with that bloody ending.
We've seen other shows lose out that early, though, haven't we?
Oh yeah, there's lots. I mean, I haven't watched it, but I heard recently that George R.R. Martin one, something or another.
Yeah, I watched about 1 and a bit episodes of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not commenting on the quality of the show or anything, but obviously, if you're invested in that and that's gone now, that's going to be frustrating. Night Flyers, that was the thing.
That's it.
Yeah. And as you've already mentioned, Serenity, or Firefly rather, is the big one we all know and remember. But Firefly was a lot more episodic, I suppose, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was a theme running through the whole lot, but it was adventure number 1, number 2, and number 3 on episode number 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. So it didn't feel like, while we were all very sad the story ended, and no one's taking that away or anything, but it wasn't like this, where it's like this is the midpoint of the first book of a series. So if they stopped it here, we'd be just like, but
who's ripped the pages out.
Yeah. Bastards, bloody soiled the last pages of a book, you bastards.
Must have been good, though, if they soiled it.
It's very true, and it is very good. Yeah. So, how should we do this time? I'm thinking we'll start on Earth and then end up on Eros.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest anyway, yeah.
It makes the most sense, given most of the episode happens on Eros. And there's only a few things happening on Earth, but they are critical nonetheless, I feel.
Definitely. I think
very important.
We find out a hell of a lot, don't we?
We do. We find out there's a lot of... a lot of the chickens have come home to roost, it would seem.
There's a lot of moustache twiddling as well.
Oh, it's moustache twiddling. All of a sudden, everyone seems to have grown a goatee.
Yeah.
There's capes everywhere. It's, up is
Hair
down.
gel has just spiked in stock numbers because everyone is using that to twiddle on their moustaches. Even little children in their prams have got little moustaches and they twiddle them.
Yeah. There's the game's afoot, as they say. We start off with, Avasarala and Admiral Souther, who we've seen previously, who's the head of the Joint Chiefs, convinced that Johnson is lying about the, origin of the drives. The drives that we found out last week from the Donninger data and that she'd found on Frank's, magic pencils. And, he's like, no, he's lying. That's all he does. He lies. Frank Johnson lies. So Fred Johnson's lies. So he's involved somehow and he's just trying to deflect the blame onto Earth to get Mars pissed at us or to deflect blame from whatever he's doing. So he's very much in team, this is bullshit. Avasarala seems a little bit more cautious, but then you get Ehrenreich coming up and saying he has proof that it's Fred Johnson. He's magically found proof.
While twiddling his moustache.
While twiddling a moustache, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, so none of this was a thing or an issue before when I brought all of this up and everything, but now that the Fred Johnson's got proof, we have our own proof.
Well, yeah.
Strokey chin.
Exactly, yeah, it's, okay, she may be onto me, Christian may be onto me, and so I need to prove it otherwise. And she'll fall for it. It'll be fine. Yeah. I can just say that we have proof that it links to Fred Johnson.
Everyone will believe it because everyone wants to believe it because Fred Johnson betrayed Earth. And so because of that, we'll get you.
Exactly, yeah. If he's betrayed Earth, then everyone's eyes will be, it's easier to pin it on him, isn't it?
Yeah.
That makes it so much easier to pin it on him. And if you just throw out this little lie and make it stick, then everyone will believe it and all eyes will be diverted onto Fred Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the smug way that he does it, though. He's got this smarminess about him. Mm-hmm. And Avasarala is just sat there or stood there just taking it all in, letting him feed her. But she knows exactly what's going on at all times.
There's that little moment where she kind of loses her composure when she put the pieces together, but then she just blames it as, Frank's death's just kind of, affecting me a bit more.
Yeah.
And that's that. And then if there was any doubt whatsoever, if there was even a moment's hesitation where you're thinking, well, maybe he's not that bad. Maybe it's not a moustache he's twirling. Enter stage left. Mr. Jules Pierre Mao.
Yeah, he rocks up, doesn't he?
Oh, he rocks up with a big old grin and everyone's like, you go, hey, Jules Pierre, how are you? Good to see you.
And they've all met before.
Oh, yeah. Him and Ehrenreich, they seem to be old friends. And, apparently Avasarala's met him once before. Souther shakes hands, but he's very pally with Ehrenreich.
Yeah, he's well in there, isn't he?
Yeah.
And so that is the diversion. You can see that's the diversion or the reason for the diversion.
Yeah. You can see that even if she doesn't know the extent, I don't know if she knows he's got anything to do with this at this point.
Yeah.
Because that's something that Holden knows or at least suspects, or Miller. That's something we, the audience, know. And other people are starting to put together, but I don't think she knows he's involved.
She has no reason to think that either.
Yeah. But we all know now that he's there's something very, very off here in the UN. And that's something that we'll have to see next season, because we leave the UN building at that point, just kind of dangling right there.
Yeah, I like the way that he glides in as if like I'm next season's baddie.
Yeah,
just to remind you that by the way, here's my moustache, twiddle twiddle. Yeah. But I'm next season's baddie, and get used to me, because you've seen me in a couple of episodes, but here I am to stay.
You don't hire an actor like me just for a couple of cameos.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's something hopefully we'll get to look forward to next year. Still got some more to do on Earth, though. We have another shot of Christian and her husband sitting on the roof of her house, which she's done a couple of times before. I quite like this thing that she does, just sitting there and looking at the stars. It's like a nice personal moment for her.
Yeah, it's almost like a voiceover, isn't it?
Almost. It's like a Greek chorus.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of just stepping away from it and kind of narrating. And I like how she's got her hair down, and we're seeing a very different Christian Avasarala here that we haven't really seen throughout this season.
Yes. Yeah, it's more like her armor has come down. Her hair's come down. She's relaxed with the family. She's talking to her husband as well. Mm-hmm. And it's such a relaxed atmosphere. All guns are put to the side, and she's having a very heart to heart with him.
To me, it feels like she's finished one battle and she's taken the armor off while she's preparing for the next one. She's kind of steeling herself, getting ready for the next one.
Uh-huh.
And she knows the next one's going to be even bigger.
Yeah.
But she's got to just enjoy this moment. And, she's trying to convince her husband to take the grandchildren, and head off to Luna, where presumably she thinks they'll be safe. I'm guessing safe from, people like Ehrenreich, because, she says Frank was killed.
Mm.
So she basically is now of the opinion that Frank didn't commit suicide. He found out the truth about those drives, and then he was assassinated.
That's right, yeah.
And so she's like, well, if that can happen to him, it can happen to you, so you need to go. And he's like, well, if I'm at risk, you're at risk. But she's like, I'll be okay. I'll just play, the old role of the warhorse who's past it, who doesn't see what's right in front of her nose. I'll play dumb.
Spill your drinks
basically
a couple of times.
Yeah. I'll play dumb, and then, just play up to those expectations. And it's very nice and self-aware that she's doing that. It's very much like I said, it's a very different Christian to who we've seen throughout season 1, who's always been in complete control of every room she's walked into, every situation. And here, for the first time, you see someone who kind of realizes that she's not in control, but she's still going to carry on regardless, because she has to.
But okay, you say that she's not in control. Yeah, she isn't, but she has the knowledge. It's that I know something, but you don't know that I know something. And so with that situation, she kind of has control with that. She
kind of has control, but it's, for me at least, it's the first time she is at risk, because every other time she's been like the Donninger walking into any room. She's just this battleship. Nothing can scratch her.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now she's realized that no, there are dangers, there are things just as deadly as me.
Mm-hmm.
There's sharks as big as me in these waters too. And you're right. I mean, the first step to avoiding a trap is to recognize the trap. But to me, it's like this is the first time she's realized there is a trap.
Yeah.
So it's just that moment of pause, that moment of reflection.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. If she recognizes there is a trap set for her as well, or possibly for her at a later date, it's good that she recognizes that, and so she can avoid it in the future, or possibly avoid it in the future, but she knows that there's a possibility of losing this time round.
Mm. Yeah, I like how they're reminiscing about her son, and she's like, he would have been older now than when you met me.
Yeah.
And just those kind of, for the life not led.
Yeah.
That little bit of regret there. So very reflective. I mean, I adore Christian Avasarala. I loved her when she was effectively Queen Bitch in the first few episodes.
Yeah.
I loved her when she's been with the detective. I love her here. She's a fantastic character. And I've just loved watching her throughout all of season 1.
I think that's what this episode did really well. It keeps building on the characters. Mm-hmm. It keeps giving you different angles on most of the characters. And this is a good angle on her, where you get the relaxed side or the preparation for the next battle. And it's just adding that extra layer onto it. And I've really enjoyed her throughout the whole season so far. Mm-hmm. There has been I think there was a little dip in the middle somewhere for me where I was like, okay, this hard ass attitude. I think it was just before Windmills. Mm-hmm. It wasn't washing as well as what I thought. And then she's gone through Windmills, which was excellent from her.
Yeah.
And then this is just something else on top of it. It's like, okay, here we go into battle again. And I love it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic character, fantastic characterization. And I mean, without dipping my hat or anything too much, there's a lot more to come from her in season 2.
Cool.
So I'm very much looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. But with that, we leave the cradle of humanity, and head off into the belt over to Eros, where should we say the meat and potatoes of the episode are.
I would say so, yeah. But doesn't it look glorious coming up to it?
Oh yeah,
that very first shot.
It's a beautiful shot. Again, the effects throughout this show have been amazing. It's second to none par excellence. It's the best CG I think you're seeing on TV shows, with the possible exception now of Star Trek Discovery.
Okay.
But I know you don't watch it, but
no.
Trust me, they spend a lot of money on the effects there. But this is really, really good. And much like with Avasarala, we're finding out a lot more about our characters here. We're finding out a lot more about Naomi and her OPA links. Let's talk about the tunnel stuff first, because I mean, like you said, there's a lot of it, but not a huge amount to say about it.
No, I think, get the tunnel stuff out the way, because that's where I dipped a little bit in this.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I do think that it works better when it's a small part of an extra long episode rather than a larger part of a smaller episode.
Yeah.
And it's primarily just getting Amos, Alex, Naomi, and Semi from where they were previously back to the Rossi, and they kind of pick up a few stragglers as they're going, and we're just basically seeing Naomi take charge, I suppose, and kind of accept the role that she's in as the XO on the Rossi. I like how Semi's very much like, oh, you ain't got a clue, we should just do this, do that, and she's like, shut up, I'm thinking. And they've got those hidden maps that the OPA were having, and the looks you're getting from Amos and Alex while they're realizing that, okay, maybe she is OPA. Whereas if you think back to the Donninger episode when the Martians were accusing her of it, and she was like, no, I'm not OPA, and all this sort of stuff. Now they're realizing that, oh, maybe she was. There's
something running through there, isn't there? That's the thing. But Sammy just on her case all the time. And it's, okay, give her a break. Just let her breathe a little bit. And you keep piling this stuff on. And you got to think, he's got an angle as well. It felt like he had an angle through it.
His angle was he wanted to get off. He wanted out. I think he recognized that there was something bad going down. He just didn't know what. And I also think he's the kind of guy, probably like Miller, who's used to being in charge of a situation. He doesn't like feeling like his fate's in someone else's hands. So that was just kind of the impression I got from him.
Well, you think about it, this station, it's a hustle and bustle, and there is crime on there, but they've had like this introduction of the CPMs, I think it is.
Yeah.
And that's wiped out his police force that he knows of.
Yeah.
That's kind of taken charge of everything. And so that's a massive shift in what he's used to. Then also, within the last hour or so, the whole station has just gone on lockdown. And it must be terrifying from the hustle and bustle when Miller turned up and just freely eating and drinking and moving around as your business to all of a sudden, no, lockdown, get in these big pods.
Mm-hmm.
That's freaky. And I can understand why he would be trying to hustle Naomi to try and get to the ship and get off of it. But yeah, it's something that comes across. It can be construed as something else, as like a different angle from him wanting, maybe he's playing for a different side. And I feel that's what I got from it a little bit.
I personally think the side he's playing for is just himself. As evidence later on, you know, he will do what he has to do to save himself. And he might try and tell himself he's being a good one. I mean, I think it's clear he killed that guy who got the goo on him.
The scruffy guy.
Yeah.
I looked in the credits and he's named as Scruffy Guy. Okay.
Well, yeah, but I think it's clear Semi killed him.
Yes. Yeah, it's that case of, oh, well, he didn't make it round this corner. I wonder what happened to him. I get it. I don't know why he had to kill him, though. I suppose he's just a straggler and maybe he just didn't want the hassle of someone else there.
I think he was scared by whatever the goo was.
Right.
Stuff. Because, you know, he said, don't get it on you. Don't let it touch you. And then, you know, next time you see him, he goes, he didn't make it. It's better off this way. Yeah. And then Amos is like, it's better this way. And when Amos is on your side, that's never a good thing.
Yeah.
I loved Amos' parenting technique as well in the tunnel. He's like, make sure your kid keeps up. And he's like, she's not my kid. And he's just like, make sure she keeps up.
Yeah, she is now.
Yeah.
If you're going to be with us, yeah, look after it. I can't believe I just called a child it. Yeah. Most of them are.
You're paraphrasing Amos. It's fine.
I'm challenging him, man. I'm challenging him.
I liked how also when, you know, Naomi gets to what they think is the dead end. And like she's, you know, a little bit, you know, this is where it should be. And Alex and Amos are both like, okay, if you say it's here, then it's here. And they go and kick the wall and, oh, well, there you go. We can do it.
Yeah.
So.
And so these maps on the walls, they've been there for quite some time then, haven't they?
Well, yeah, it sounds like they were for the original construction maps when they were building the tunnels. And you actually see these, I know if you go to like the catacombs in France, you get similar sort of markings and stuff just to help you kind of find your way around.
Ooh, creepy.
Yeah.
Have you been down there then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I've been to Paris and it was scary enough on top.
Highly recommend it. They're very cool. So, yeah. Go check it out. It's cool. I think that's pretty much all of the tunnel stuff. There's the girl who, you know, is with them. They find her aunt or friend or something and she insists on taking them back to the hotel. And Naomi's like, no, come with us. And the other woman's like, no, she belongs with her parents, and drags her off. And then that's kind of it. And you kind of got to feel sorry for that girl because, yeah, she did. I
do feel sorry for her. The problem I had with it felt too much like Ripley and Newt. And I think if you, from now until the end of cinema, whenever you get like a female character with a lost child like this, it's always going to echo back to that.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing from the aliens' point of view, but also a bad thing from everything else that's going to follow that on.
Yeah.
And there's no way around it really, unless you, I don't know, unless you get some kick-ass kid.
Yeah, there's always going to be those parallels. And I mean, I don't think they were too strong though, because, you know, obviously in aliens, you don't really have a conflict between Ripley and the family effectively over what's best. So it's a little bit different, but I know what you're saying. It's, you put any young girl in a science fiction scenario with a strong, powerful female lead, people are going to point and say Ripley.
Yeah.
And that's just unavoidable.
I think it was when she ran off and then she had to go find her, and you always have to go find her and find her cowering in the corner and have to talk her down.
Mm-hmm.
And okay. I think that's where I was a bit lost on it. It was just, okay, I get it. You have to do that.
I'll tell you this. I'd sooner have them riffing on that when they run around the corner and found an android playing a flute.
Look, yeah, I'm saying that's a low point in a very good episode. And that's not a bad low point to have, is it?
It's true.
The problem is when you have a good series and then you have low points that dip down from the expected highs, then you're going to pick up on them. And I think that's what's happening with me. I'm really enjoying this. And when I have a little dip, I'm like, there it is. There's the dip I'm expecting. But that low point is miles better than all the other stuff that I've watched. So I'm not trying to knock it. I'm just trying to point out that it was there.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a safe space here. We're all friends. No one's having a go at anyone.
Cool.
But I think that is us out of the tunnels, really, because there's pretty much everything I can think of that happening there.
Well, they make it to the Rossi, don't they?
Yeah, but we'll get to the Rossi at the end, I feel. Because that's where the more interesting stuff happens.
Okay. Because
now we can go back to Miller and Holden, who are slowly cooking from the inside.
Okay, so they found medication. And
they kind of just shoot open a vending machine or something, don't they?
Yeah. I suppose you're going to need that sort of stuff, though, when you're floating around in space. Oh, sorry. Can we just go back to a special effect in the tunnels?
Sure.
When Naomi's trying to find her direction and she picks up the dust or the dirt and drops it.
Oh, yeah. And it spirals down, yeah.
It spirals down. You're like, that's so good.
Yeah.
So I had to mention that. I thought that was so cool.
It's the attention to detail on things like that it's one of the things that really makes this show stand out.
That was wicked. I loved that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to the medical cabinet because we got to raid that and somehow get something that stops you from cooking from the inside. I don't know.
It was any anti-nausea meds, any anti-radiation meds. He's basically just like, just everything and anything that's going.
Doses
grab
up.
It. Yeah. And they're just kind of rummaging through it, pulling the stuff out. And as soon as they find it, it's like, yes! And there you go. They are remarkably calm for two people who've just received lethal doses of radiation.
I think when I get ill or anything like that, I always, you know your body, don't you? And you know the noises that it makes sometimes. Mm-hmm. And the bubbles and gurgles that it makes sometimes. And I think if you had a massive dose like they did, you'd be just, okay, let's have a quiet moment and then listen to the bubbles and gurgles and squeals and squishes that are going on inside your body. You're like, that doesn't normally happen. And if I turn to this side, if I just lean over this way, it's making like a cracking noise. That's not good. Never used to do that. That would scare the bejesus out of me.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but having known that it's happened, like they were in the room and that they saw the flash and everything, and just know that it's never mind the feeling things going wrong, then that all happens as well. It's just like I'd go to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I just I just curl up into a ball somewhere and just be like, no, I'm done.
Yeah. Every movement would be, hang on, is this a number 2 or is this a blow off? I don't want to push it just in case.
Yeah. Am I going to cough or cough up a lung?
Am I going to remove air from my body or squirt something in some sort of direction that I don't really want to?
Well, I got to tell you, for the most of this episode, Miller was doing the latter.
He was. He I don't know why he copped it the most. Or reacted to it the most?
The only thing I can think about it in universe reason is I suspect because Holden had worked on the Canterbury as an ice hauler. You know, he was very blasé about what the medication should be and everything, and he knew what it is. I suspect he might have had exposure in the past.
Tolerance?
A bit of a tolerance, or maybe he's got, something along those lines, because, Miller's never left Ceres. He's literally never left his village, for lack of a better term. So, and all of a sudden he's out here and this has happened. I think this is a big shock to his system.
Yeah, so, I think you're right. They do make they make sure that that the Belters have a weaker body than everyone else.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's a combination of those things just means it hits him harder. Yeah. Although he seems to care less.
Well, okay, this is another thing about his character that comes through, where it's just, okay, I need to survive, and if you're in my way now, that's it, you're out. I need to get to this ship, hopefully get some radiation medication or whatever they're going to try and get. Mm-hmm. But I need to get there now. I don't care how I do it. And even Holden pulls him up on it a little bit, doesn't he? Saying, going in all cocksure about absolutely everything, screwing it up, it's going to get yourself killed straight away.
I suppose it's a bit, if you're convinced you're going to die, whatever happens, it's a bit of a, well, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah. And so, yeah, he's a bit, cocksure. Mm-hmm. He's a bit crazy. I like when they get into the, pachinko hall. Yeah. And he says, I was born in a pachinko hall. Like, I'm not going to die in one. And he's talking about when him and Semi were growing up on Ceres. And he goes, you can be an ass or you can be a boot. Yeah. I like that little story. That was a kind of nice little touch. And you get a sense of just how far back they go.
Oh, so, yeah.
Sure that's not going to be an issue later.
Well, yeah, that is a kind of set up for later on, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. We see the CPM guys setting up those cameras, which are primarily made out of jet washers, from what it looked like.
Yeah, they looked all flimsy and stuff, but that's just for cameras for once everyone's off, and it's just for looking at the experiment, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that. We definitely get that sense of it being an experiment, like when they switch the pods back on, and it turns up full of people with all the proto-molecule crystals growing on them, and it's just like they're deliberately spreading this thing throughout the station, and it's just they're still alive and kind of crawling, and just, they don't know what's going on. They're full of radiation. It's pretty damn horrid.
That was creepy. That was a little bit creepy, especially there was a lady that looked at you as well on that pod. But it's just the way that it almost comes alive when the doors open and senses someone else there.
Yeah. And just kind of moves towards them. I mean, I don't blame them for like going, yeah, we'll walk. We're not going that way.
Just about turn. Come on. Yep. Let's go. But I've swiped my oyster. No. Don't worry about it.
No, it's fine. We'll get a refund at the next one. We'll go speak to the guy. I quite like how, when they, after that they're hiding, trying to find, some uniforms effectively so they can just sneak through. Yeah. And they're just sitting down there, and these two guys just come walking by, and Miller's just like, hey, boom, just like bang, bang, and just shoots them. I mean, I could almost call this episode "Damn, Son," because of the amount of stuff you get from Miller and Amos later on as well. Yeah, it's just like, what?
It's Holden's face and reaction to that as well, and also Miller's realization that, because we get a shot early on where Miller and Holden are walking away, and you see the picture of "Remember the Cant" on the wall with Holden's face.
Yeah, that graffiti.
Again, it's still the poster boy for it.
Yeah.
And yet, he's not living up to the expectations that Miller thinks. He thinks he should be blasting away and, all gun-ho. He's not that kind of person. And in return to that as well, Holden looks at Miller like, what the hell did you just do?
Yeah.
I don't understand the lengths that you're going to. It's almost as if he's a bit confused as to why he's been so violent. But I think in that sort of situation, he needs to be. He needs to pull Holden through that.
You've still got an idealistic kid who thinks he can save the entire galaxy. And then you've got Miller, who's, despite never leaving Sirius, has seen it all. And is just going to drag him along and, you know, get him to the Rossi by hook or by crook.
Yeah.
You know? But in a weird way, Miller doesn't seem to be terribly motivated by wanting to save himself. You know, we've already seen, you know, he was willing to just go out and take on 6-on-1. You know, some of these plans are definitely not in anyone's best interest.
Mm.
But, you know, it seems like he's going forward because it's the only option he really has. It's like, you know, just put one foot in front of the other and just keep on going.
Yeah, that's right. And when they get the uniform, I like that it's not a case of, okay, right, they shoot the guys and then the next scene, they're just wearing the uniforms. They're trying to take them off and they're really struggling. But then you also get Miller picking up the helmet and just wiping it
wiping the blood off. Yeah. Well, you don't want to get the blood down your back there.
Well, no, of course, it'd stand out, wouldn't it? Where did that blood come from?
But then we get Holden going off after the sound, and we get your friend back.
Which one's that?
Genzo!
Ah, yes. Yes.
With his magic eyes.
Yeah. Inspector Gadget, yes.
Inspector Gadget, yeah. I don't know what Kenzo thought was going to happen there after where he saw them last time. I like he was coming up going, no, I was fooled too, and it wasn't my fault, and fine, beat me up afterwards, but you need me to get you off the ship. And Holden's just like, no, just fuck off. Fuck off. I got no time for you.
I like that. I
do too.
Any other show would be, okay, you're talking me round. He's like, no, I don't want to shoot you, but get the hell away from me.
I like it. You know, as he shoots him away, he goes, are you going to tell me all about your wife and kid, are you? Okay, tell me about it next time you see me. Now, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. But he starts throwing bullets at him as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's like how Kenzo's flinching each time one goes off like, yeah, damn it, I'm trying to get close to you, stop shooting.
Yeah, he's trying to talk him down, and then I think there's a certain turning point. He realises, well, hang on, I'm not getting through here, and in a minute I'm going to cop a bullet in the face, so I might as well just go. But look, it's character building again, isn't it? It shows that Kenzo is just trying to do what he can to survive. And I suppose in that sort of situation, you have to do what you can to survive. Like Sammy as well. He just wants to get off that place. Mm-hmm. But with Holden, he's trying to step up from Miller. He's idolizing Miller, isn't he? He's looking at him going, wow, I need to be more kick-ass like him.
I don't think he's idolizing him so much, but he's certainly looking at Miller and realizing that they're very different people. And I think it might be a case of he's looking at Miller and realizing he needs to be a bit more of that if he's going to get out.
Right. Yeah, to survive.
Yeah.
Are you saying? Yeah. Because I thought he had massive puppy dog eyes for him at one point.
Oh, I thought that was just a radiation sickness. I don't think it was like that. I mean, there was definitely the bit where Miller sees Holden after he's shot off Kenzo. And there's like an unspoken moment between them there. There's just some sort of understanding where I think Miller understands just, you know, how at the end of his rope Holden is.
Yeah. Also that he can do this as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, he's willing to do it. I mean, we've already established that Miller wouldn't have wasted the bullets with the warning shots.
No.
Yeah, Miller's very much, if I point a gun at you, you die.
Yeah. I also like his little bullets as well.
Because they're very cool, yeah.
You have like that rainbow glow around them, don't you?
That's a very cool gun.
Well, the props are really good anyway, aren't they?
There's a tested video. They went and visited just before season 2 to go and have a look at some of the props and everything they had there, and just kind of taught you through some of the costumes. And it's just so beautifully made, all of them. They use like real high altitude helmets and masks from jet aircraft and
Right.
modified them into being spacesuits and everything. It's really cleverly done.
Do you know, I've probably seen that episode, but
Possibly.
because
But now you have context.
well, yeah, that's the thing. If I don't have the context, then it's just oh, that's really nice. And then you forget about it. But once you have it, like with all the other spacesuits that they've done on there, then once you know where that's from and what it's doing, then okay, it kind of sits in there a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the plan is to, the plan is just get to the Rossi, get to the docks and just go the straight line. And then you've got all of the CPM guys are facing off against Jules Pierre's Techno Marines, for lack of a better term. The ones which took the Donninger.
Techno Marines, yeah.
The Techno Marines there. And, you've got the guy who, speared Havelock through the, chest.
Yeah.
He's there kind of in their face and all that. And I love how Miller kind of just, they have a discussion. What's the best way? The best way is to go through that way, but we're not going to shoot our way through. But then he kind of gets in there and just starts riling them up. And he knows how to press all the buttons. He knows how to play these guys like a slot machine.
He's lived that life though, hasn't he? He's been on the other side. He's received that from the Belters.
Yeah.
He's been on that receiving end. And so once you have that knowledge, you can return that or turn it on its head and use that. And that's what he does as a distraction. He puts on the accent and everything. And it's like, yeah, man, I like all this sort of stuff.
Oh, it's great. He gets them all really riled up and everything like that. And then what's possibly my favourite moment of the episode is they get all the way across to the other side. And, the guy who shot Havelock, I can't remember the character's name, but, he's following along with him almost. And Holden gets through the door and Miller's there and he's holding the door open. He goes, come on. I'll hold the door for you. And the guy's running towards him. And then he just pulls out the gun and shoots him in the head.
Yep.
There's no quip. There's no funny line. There's nothing. There's just bang. And it's just, damn, Miller. That was awesome.
But we knew that he was going to kill him at some point, didn't we?
Well, once we saw him there, I think you definitely knew he wanted to kill him. Mm-hmm. And it felt like the Belton knew who Miller was. There was looks there like, I recognise you. There's some sense of recognition. Yeah,
because you get a look at, he does like a glance over his shoulder at him at first, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then there's that bit where, he's just running towards it. Miller's holding the door and he just shoots him. And it's glorious. There's just like a little, you fucking deserve that.
Yeah, I didn't know whether I wanted him to do it how he did it or let him get in the lift and kind of splatter Holden with his brains.
No. Splattering a member of Rossi crew comes a bit later.
Oh, okay, cool.
I like when they get to they get there, but they think they're too late. They think the Rossi's gone. And have a little moment there. And then, the airlock opens and Miller sees Julie and he's already seen her once, and it's this whole, presumably just hallucinating. Mm-hmm. Because, he's cooking from the inside.
Yeah, he's slowly being turned into a jacket potato.
Basically, yeah. Not fun. Wouldn't recommend it.
No.
And I like how he goes, I think he says, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And then Holden leans forward and goes, you what? And then you just got Amos and he goes, you guys look like shit. It's just like, I love that.
It's the way it's framed as well.
Yeah, it's really well framed. It just looks awesome. But we got to go back in time a little bit because we missed a key point on the Rossi once they got back.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. This is just a bit before, isn't it?
This is just a bit before when they finally get on there. And they realise that they're stuck on the clamps. The clamps aren't released. They need Semi to let him go. And he's like, well, we're all here now. Let's go. And Naomi's like, well, we promised him, was it 3 hours she promised?
Yeah. He said, if I'm not back in 3 hours, then you have to leave.
Yeah.
And they were well within their time remit.
But I don't think he did say 3 hours. I think he said if we're not back in 1 hour.
I thought it was 3.
I don't know. No, I know she said 3, but I think Holden said 1.
Right.
So I think she's choosing to stay beyond it. I could be wrong here. I'd have to go back and watch it again last week's episode. Don't have time to do it right now. But I think she's staying longer than Holden said to stay.
Okay.
And, you know, Semi's like, no, we're going now. And does a rather foolish thing. He pulls a gun on Naomi in front of Amos.
Yeah, that wasn't going to work, was it?
It wasn't.
That was never going to work.
Now, in his defense, he probably doesn't know what a psychopath Amos is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he pulls the gun on Naomi. He's like, no, we're leaving now. You go and get ready to fly the ship. You, Amos, go and switch the panels on. And Amos just kind of shrugs and goes, okay, and walks off screen. And then he's there, and he starts to give one of those speeches like, now I know you don't think I'm going to shoot. And all of a sudden it's just bang, and the back of his head's gone. Or the back of his back, you know, he's shot in the back, and that's it. He goes down. And Amos is just like, if you say we stay, we stay. I'm going to take this downstairs, clean up.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
No. Well, the thing is, you kind of should be expecting with Amos at this point, but damn, Amos. He is, without a doubt, I think the scariest character in the show. I love him. He's awesome, but he is scary motherfucker.
Once again, it's shot really well because you have that he asks the question, Amos, can you get the computers fired up so he can get the clamps taken off?
Yeah.
And there's no reaction or argument or anything from Amos. It's just
he doesn't
okay.
say don't do that. He doesn't say, you know, put your gun down or threaten or anything at all. He just kind of shrugs and goes, okay,
and turns, doesn't he?
He walks off camera and then bang.
Yeah, the camera goes past him as well. It cuts to a different shot.
Yeah.
Comes down like low left.
Because you're looking behind Semi when he's pointing the gun at Naomi.
Yeah.
As he's giving his, if you think I'm not going to shoot, then you need to understand I will shoot. But he doesn't say all that. He goes, if you think I'm not going to shoot, bang.
Yep.
And it's just like, okay. Well, that's one way to solve that problem.
It's brutal, isn't it?
It's so. This is where we get the Rossi crew member splattered in brains or blood or whatever, all over Naomi.
Yeah, I thought it was like a throat shot.
Yeah,
I don't know whether you thought it was a headshot or.
Well, I think it's in it's upper back. It's like roughly where his spinal column is. I think, and it just makes a mess. But it's how calm Amos is right afterwards. It's such, what's the word? Casual violence.
Mm-hmm.
It's so casual. He kind of does, he shoots him. The guy drops dead there. And without skipping a beat, he just kind of calmly puts the gun away and goes, if you say we stay, we stay. And we know he's got no love of Holden.
That's right.
You know, Holden literally threatened to have him walk home from the Anubis. But he's like, well, if you say we stay, we stay. And then he's just like, I'm just going to clean this up. Yeah, I'll take care of this. I'm going to put this below. And yeah. And it's just like, wow. There's
something hollow about him, but
that's an excellent description of it. Yeah. There's definitely something hollow with Amos.
Yeah. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something, I think you described it a couple of episodes ago. I forget how you described it, but there's something slightly lacking in the personality to give him that
He's got no
coldness.
Empathy. He's got no empathy.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. But then he does other bits like with the kid where he's like, you know, make sure she keeps up. No, make sure she keeps up. You know, it's, and when he was in the bar on Tycho and, the guy came up to him and he's like, I'm not interested, but that guy over there's going to try and stab you.
Yeah. If there's not a threat to him or Naomi, then I feel that he's got the situation under control. But as soon as you point a gun at Naomi or him or someone else, then he needs to deal with that, and that has to be addressed.
He really is like a guard dog.
Mm.
He's like, you know, he could be the cutest dog ever, but if you threaten, you know, Naomi, he will bare his teeth and he will rip your throat out.
Yeah. that was almost him baring his teeth though, wasn't it? When he, when the gun was pointed at Naomi and he gave her that look of, what the hell's going on here? What's he doing here? And all it needed was like a slight raise of the eyebrows.
Well, we also seen just before that when, she'd asked about the scruffy guy.
Yeah.
And Semi goes, it's better without him. And Amos had backed him up.
Yeah.
So we just had a moment where it seemed like, they were on the same page. They needed to survive. But yeah, Amos blew him away in such casual violence. And then once he's bringing Miller and Holden back through and they walk past him and he's putting the medical device on Miller and Miller asks what happened to Semi and he just, go, oh yeah, I shot him.
Yeah, there was no explanation, was there?
Yeah. Just, no, I had to shoot him.
I'm hoping that come later on. I know you can't say.
Won't you?
I'm hoping that might come later on. It's gonna come up anyway because Miller's gonna be pissed at that.
Well, we heard they grew up together, as kids. So yeah, Amos just shot his childhood friend. There's not a huge amount that can be done just now because right now they need to get the magic bands put on them, which apparently can cure radiation sickness.
Yeah, that was a bit of a stretch, but I like that the bands weren't. They were dropping out of sync, weren't they? There was something that they were recognizing. I forget the word they used.
It kept trying to put them in a hospice mode.
Yeah, they're fucked, really, aren't they?
They're pretty fucked. I mean, they didn't even know they had the meds on board because when Miller says to him early, "Does your ship have radiation meds?" and he goes, "I hope so."
It's state of the art though. It's Mars and state of the art, so it's gonna.
Well, absolutely. Thank God. But yeah, I like how, they kind of bolt the things on the arm there and Holden's like, you stayed. And she's like, well, only because I don't want to be the captain. It sucks. You can have it. And then we get a gorgeous shot of the Rossi breaking out of there, which is cool.
And, well, Alex gets fed up with all the gas stuff, doesn't he?
Oh, to quote, to hell with this gas hauler bullshit. And just ejects all of those gas canisters, and we could finally see the Rossi in her glory once again, without all those horrible canisters all over it.
Okay,
and it's a good looking ship. I do love Rossi. I love the little cold gas exhaust from the thrusters, the way they're all clustered and they just kind of pulsing to kind of orientate the ship.
Yeah,
I am a Navy pilot. You are a Navy gunboat.
Yeah. Okay. Am I wrong in thinking that I like the gas canisters bolted on?
No, you're not, because I quite like them as well in throughout this, but it's once they went, I was still like, yeah, there you go. It's the way he just kind of ejected them and then Rossi's free.
Okay.
It's like, hey, it's away. That's all cool.
I'm going to have to get used to it, but I like it. I like the look of it, but it's one of them things where you add something on to make it look even cooler. You're like, yeah, that's cool. And then strip it away again. You're like, oh, I remember how that used to look now. I'm going to have to get used to that again.
I still miss the Martian colours. I really like it when it's Vitachi.
Right.
I like the black and orange. It's a cool look for me. So, but, what you going to do?
Well, just go outside and graffiti it again, aren't you?
Yeah, get older Amos out there, give it a new coat of paint. They blast out and get away from the station, but they intercept a transmission from Dresden, the crazy scientist we saw last week, and this week we saw stealing the blood from Julie while telling people that children are always a disappointment, but at least this one will make her father proud in a not creepy way whatsoever.
Oh, okay. There was a scene where they were firing her body with lasers and stuff, weren't they?
And
to try and aggravate or just bring that thing to life.
I think they were just giving it power, switching it back on effectively.
Yeah.
Because it all started glowing and doing stuff. And
are we going to end up with... I don't want to say the soul of Julie, but that's going to be like the ground zero of this outbreak. And it's going to somehow incorporate her into its final design.
We don't know because we see it grab another individual as well.
Mm-hmm.
So who can say? Yeah, we see him switching on with that, and we see we see Dresden sending off the data, and Alex goes, I think I've just pinpointed where the bad guys are. So I think that's another bit of information we're just going to store away for next week. And back on Eros, the only man still walking effectively is Kenzo, all alone, walking around.
So lonely.
He lonely, so lonely. That's going to be kind of terrifying, realizing you're the only person effectively alive walking around on this now abandoned science experiment.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that Eros could become like this thing, this living, breathing organism.
It's very organic, isn't it?
Because we've seen that try to take over the reactor on the stealth ship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken over all the bodies that we've seen as well. So there's no saying that it couldn't take over the whole station and become an entity in itself. I'm not saying that will happen, but it's just if it's going to keep growing, you keep feeding it, then it's going to multiply and become bigger and bigger and bigger, isn't it?
Well, I think it's definitely clear that they plan to keep feeding it for as much as they can.
Yeah.
As Miller says, it's the perfect laboratory because Earth will blame Mars will blame Earth, the Belt will blame both of them, and while that's going on, whoever's responsible, Jules Pierre, can do whatever the hell they want.
So what happens to Kenzo then?
Well, it seems like there's this blue. You don't watch Star Trek Discovery, so this won't mean anything to you.
Okay.
But for those of you out there listening who do listen to watch Star Trek Discovery, it's like the spores from Discovery. You got these little blue things all kind of coalesce into a humanoid shape, and then they effectively tap him on the shoulder, and he looks around and he sees it, and then all of a sudden, a thing, which I think is the only way you can describe it, a thing grabs him and pulls him deep into Eros, where you can see it's all gone blue and glowy and organic-y. Which
is kind of what we saw at the very beginning of episode 1.
Yep, back on the reactor on the Anubis.
Yeah.
And and then that's it. End of episode. No music over the credits, just the really creepy sound effects from Eros.
Oh, it's cool. It's so cool. But
it's cool.
the bluey things, they take the form of him, don't they? Of Kenzo.
The bluey things?
When he stood there and he walks into this, these little blue fireflies flying around him, mm-hmm. and they form the shape of him, and he reacts to it and it reacts back to him. Yeah.
They're kind of, parroting, I suppose.
Yeah, mirroring him. Yeah. It reminded me of Annihilation a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I've grown to really love that film. Really love that film. So, but creepy, cool, mysterious, weird, everything I like.
Yeah, it kind of ticks all the boxes for you.
Yeah, good cliffhanger. I like it, but I don't know what grabbed him, but it was so fast and so quick that it was like, oh, I like that.
Something out of Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, and the thing as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's all cool things to copy. Well, not copy, but you know what I mean.
Homage.
That's the fella. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very exciting, and thus comes to an end our journey through season 1 of The Expanse. We have now reached the point in our story where we were going to say, okay, we're done now.
Yeah, we were, weren't we?
We were.
For now, anyway.
For now. I don't think we're going to stop here, though, are we?
No, we're going to do the rest, man. We got to do the rest.
We kind of have to. There'd be riots in some place, I don't know where.
Probably in Sidcup somewhere, I'd imagine.
Riots in Sidcup, absolutely. And we don't want to encourage that. We've had a bit of feedback, though.
give over.
I know. I was shocked too. But yeah, we've had a bit of feedback from Stephen Ellis. Hello, Stephen. And you know, he sent some comments about, you know, how he loves the science in the show and how things like the ships are just big bricks with engines for generating gravity, which is cool. But he's got some specific questions that he would like to hear us discuss.
Okay.
So he would like to know, what's our favourite moment from season 1? What's our favourite character? And would you like to speculate on where you think this is going to go?
Okay. Shall I do the favourite character from season 1 so far, yeah?
Yeah, so who is your favourite character from season 1? Well, your favourite character so far, because it's all you've seen.
Okay. Up until he had his head removed, it was Shed.
But that was quite early. That was only episode 4, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I suppose my favourite character at the moment, which I'm really surprised at, is Miller.
Really?
I'm really surprised at it. And I'm starting to really love his hair. I love his haircut. I think it looks
the heavy
so
undercut.
Cool. Yeah, I think it looks so cool as well, because it's like looking at two different people from two different sides. When you looking at his right side, you're like, okay, cool, thug, but yeah, cool. And then you look at the other side, he's like, oh man, he looks so rock and roll. So he's my favorite character so far.
Oh, excellent. I've got to be very careful answering this because a lot of who my favourite characters are is influenced by what we see later on. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try and base it solely on just season 1. And I'd probably say my favourite character in season 1 is Avasarala.
Ah, okay.
Christian Avasarala. I just really like how she's portrayed. I like her arc effectively throughout season 1. And, you know, it's just like moments when she's meeting with Holden's family. And, you know, she's like, should we just dispense with the bullshit? I had a little bit more about what a lovely house this was, but yeah, we can move on if you like.
That was cool. That was so cool.
And I mean, even going back to the first time we see her when she's got the OPA terrorist in the, you know, on the hooks.
Yeah.
Instantly, you just know that this is a woman you do not trifle with.
Yeah.
But then in the very next scene, you see her playing with her grandkids and, you know, being a loving grandmother. And she just goes from one to the other, you know, like that.
Yeah.
And it's just so great. But there's so many great performances throughout all of the season, which I love. But for season 1, I'd put my coin on Christian Avasarala.
Yeah, no, there are some really good characters in here. Look at Dawes.
Yeah. Dawes and that whole speech about his sister.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That has got to be one of the moments.
It's one of the best. What? And that's one of Stephen's questions: is favourite moment from season 1. Do you can you think of a moment or a sequence or something?
I think it is the Dawes speech.
Do you?
Yeah, that was just beautiful.
That was a fantastic scene for me, and this probably won't come as a surprise to anyone. Largely because I'm a sucker for a flying brick, but it's the Donninger battle.
Yep.
That's just a moment for me where this show kicked from, you know, 5th into 6th gear, put a foot to the pedal, and it never stopped after that.
Yeah.
I love that. Everything about that with the ships coming in. I love the battle on the inside. I love the worry of the Martian crew as they realise what's going on. I love the escape of Itachi and the little thing, but the fact the auto-destruct is based off of a Nostromos from Alien. I love it. It's awesome. So, yeah, I like me a good old space battle.
But so, I think it's good that we have total opposite favourite moments as well.
Yeah. There's so much in here to love. I don't think there's there's a couple of bum notes here and there, but, you know, I don't think there's any episode where you look at it and it's like the boxing one on Battlestar Galactica where you just go, yeah, fine, well, we've got to just put up with this episode. But the rest of it's, you know...
Oh, that's right. And Black Market and Scar and, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you've got anything like that in season 1. There might be a couple of moments here and there where it's a bit slow, but I think on the whole, the quality is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Would you like to do a little speculation on where you think season 2 is going to go?
That's really hard. That's really, really hard. Okay. So we have... What do we have? The Rossi flying away.
We've got the Rossi flying away from Eros, which is inundated with proto-molecule.
Mm-hmm.
On Earth, you have them trying to blame Fred Johnson for the drives. And, apparently senior members of the government are in on that. So you've got Avasarala, who's come to the realization that all is not well in the world. Mars, we've not spent a huge amount of time on Mars, but, we can assume Mars is blaming Earth for everything.
Yep.
And then you've got, you've got Dawes up to his own devices over in Ceres, I suppose.
I think the Rossi's going to go back to Fred Johnson to let them know about Plansky.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Plansky?
Lionel Plansky, yeah.
Lionel Plansky. And what happened there. They also have that safe that they need to crack. And
from the Anubis, yeah.
He has all the equipment to crack all that sort of stuff. So I think that's where they're going to be heading. The stuff with all the proto-molecule on it, that is gonna, where's that gonna go? Are there any, there's got to be other stations. They've tested it in Eros.
Well, Phoebe was the first one, but Phoebe was destroyed.
Yep. Eros has been, don't go there. Just don't go there on your holidays. Don't even bother. They're not going to take it to Earth. They're not going to do that. They're going to go somewhere else. Is it possible they can go further out? Can they go?
Yeah, the world of the Expanse goes all the way out to... I don't think it goes out to the Kuiper belt, but it certainly goes out as far as Uranus. That's what she said.
I'm so glad you said that.
You're welcome.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing Uranus. No, come on. We're better than that. No, we're not.
No, we're not. We're really not. Know your audience.
I don't know where they're going. I think they're going to go to another station. They're not going to take it to a planet. They're going to go to another station or a moon somewhere, but quiet. A quiet moon. Almost uninhabited moon. That's what I think anyway.
Okay.
Avasarala, what's she going to do next? She's getting ready to battle. And is she going to try and perform a coup? I don't know. That's all I like to speculate on at the moment. I don't know where it's going, but that's the joy of it at the moment.
Yeah.
That it's so open. Yeah. There's so many options that it's almost impossible to really pinpoint exactly where people are going to go and what they're going to do.
Yeah. I think that's one of the great things about the show and the series. It goes places you don't expect, but when you look back, the route's plain as day. You say, oh, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and you can't really guess as to where this is going to go, because
I know where it's going to go, and so my guesses would be somewhat null and void.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about season 1 as a whole, or this episode in particular that you...
I'm surprised on how much I really, really enjoyed it. I love all the science behind it. I think that is a real good bedrock to build your world on. And if you stick to it, and they have stuck to it, that's working well. Magic armbands that fix radiation and stop all your cells from dying. That may be a step too far, but I'm willing to go with that because they've shown so much care in what they've built up. So that's kind of okay, well, look, we can deal with that. That's not a problem. But everything else has been so carefully built up and thought about in such a scientific way or a correct way of doing things. It's not just space magic. there's a reason behind why the water, when you pour a drink, it acts like that. There's a reason why when you drop dust, it spirals down. There's reasons for that, and there's reasons
like
for
with the birds flying on Ceres with with a little two flaps, and they just kind of hold there, which is great. And the like when you lose thrust on your ship, you go 0G.
Yeah. Or all the compartments on the ships are separate compartments, so they can be isolated as well. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
There's so much thought. So when you have like a magic armband that fixes our main characters, then you can be forgiven of going, oh, okay, I'll just let that go.
Yeah. I love the show. I adore the science, but for me, I think one of the best things is the characters. It's just how good this cast of characters are, and how the interactions and how they evolve. They're compelling characters. I want to see what they're going to do. I'd happily just watch an entire episode just on the Rossi, see them just going about their day. Mm-hmm. I'd be fine with that.
Well, yeah, we almost did have that as well, that time passes and space is big and it takes time to get to places. I think that works really well. Mm-hmm. You need that. You need a bit of time to slow things down, let it breathe a little bit, and have a realistic distance as well. All of a sudden, you're just knocking on the door of Jupiter, and then 1 minute, okay, then we're at Saturn. You're like, it doesn't work like that. It's quite a big gap. So, I like the realization of it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, I'm really glad you kind of, stuck it out and enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd have hated that, you get to the end of it and you're like, well, I did the first season like I said I would. So yeah.
You'd have been gutted, I think.
I'd be disappointed, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't have been mad. I'd have been disappointed, Elton.
Just disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm very much looking forward to season 2. I don't think we're going to set a date just yet. We'll see what our schedule looks like, but we will do it probably within the next month, I'd have thought, yes?
I think so, yeah. There's a couple of things I need to do.
Yeah.
And as this is the end of the first season, going into the second season, there is a little break. How long was in between the two seasons? Was it like 6 months or more?
Oh, you do ask me the difficult questions. This aired February 2nd, 2016 in the US. And episode 1 of season 2 aired literally a year later.
Okay. Well, we won't leave it that long. Christ.
No, that'd be mean. That'd be cruel. We'll leave it. I think the aim at the minute is sometime beginning of April.
Yeah.
We'll aim to get back for then. So you just have to keep an eye on all the usual places. Which, that gives us a very nice little segue into where people can find us, doesn't it?
Yeah. Shall I take control of that now?
After you, sir. You have the con.
Well, this show and all the other shows I'm normally on, you can find at rogue2media.com. You can find Shonky Lab, which I need to do some episodes on. You can find the Grand Prix Podcast, which Andy is part of. We also did Band of Brothers and From the Earth to the Moon as well, which they cover Saving Private Ryan on the Band of Brothers podcast.
Yeah, not the Earth to the Moon one.
Yeah, not that one. And Apollo 13 and First Man in the From the Earth to the Moon podcast as well. Mm-hmm. You can also catch me on the Black Dog podcast, which is a film review show of 4 geeks sit down each week and just talk about movies and other stuff, normally gluing your ass together. It
makes sense. It makes sense in context. It doesn't really, but I'm going to tell people that so they don't think we're completely insane.
It's happened though. Come on. It has happened.
It has happened. You can find me, when I'm not doing this, along with Elton over at Rogue 2 Media. You can also find me on The Great Derelict, which is greatderelict.libsyn.com, which is a podcast about anything and everything to do with science fiction. And at the time that this comes out, I will have just released an episode with the fantastic Mr. Jim Moon talking all about the history of 2000 AD. And I've got to tell you, it's pretty amazing. If you don't listen to any other cast I've done, I'd listen to that one because it's mostly Jim, which is what's not to love there. And you can also hear Jim over at Hypnogoria. Hypnogoria.com, is it?
Yes, as far as I know, yes.
And I feel we might have to, maybe once we've finished all of the Expanse, team up with him and do the books. Because I'd be interested to see if there's, what the differences are that you see.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know if does he watch the Expanse or not?
I have no idea.
Well, I think we should make him.
Seems like he would enjoy it. I think he would enjoy it as well. There's probably not enough vampires though.
Well, in season 1.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to wait and see.
There aren't vampires in it, are there?
Maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, keep your eye out on Twitter. I'm at Andy3E and you are at Elton McManus.
That's correct, yep.
There's also at Rogue2. Is it Rogue2 Media?
I think it's, off the top of my head, it's Rogue_2. That's what it is.
Yes, it's Rogue_TWO. Once we have a date for episode 1 of season 2 being released, we'll post it there. You can also, on the Great Derelicts Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/Great Derelict, one word. That's where we post them on Facebook as well. So look, there's many places you can go and find this. And you can do your part, lovely listener, by sharing this with other people and making them listen to it and falling in love with the Expanse all over again. Because if there's one thing this has shown me, it's the Expanse is even better the 5th time you're watching it.
Is it really? 5th time, yeah?
Yeah, probably is actually.
Nice.
I think. Yes, because every season I watched season 1 twice, and then every time a new season's come out, I've rewatched everything running up to it. So this has been my 5th time going through.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm still seeing new stuff.
Yeah. I didn't even do that with Lost.
Wow.
I think I've seen all of Lost through twice. But no, that's one thing I don't want to ruin. That's what I'm worried about, doing that sort of thing. I've learned that from recording cartoons when I was very young. When I used to record cartoons like Inspector Gadget and other little things, and I'd end up watching all the ones I recorded at the very beginning, and then you get to see them too many times and it ruins it.
No, I can definitely see that, but I can tell you so far this has stood up very well. I don't think I'd oversaturate it, and it's not like I'm doing it every 5 minutes, but it stands up very well to rewatching, and you just appreciate more every time. So do check it out. I just want to give another shout out as well to the music. I adore the music in this show, and it's a crime that they've only released one soundtrack so far. They've only done season 1 soundtrack. So Amazon, if you're listening, I would like seasons 2 and 3.
Okay, I'm going to have to dive in on that. Yes,
you should. It is very good. I love it. It's so cool. Anyway, you know what? We better bring this in. We've got a tight beam to season 2 now, so we'll get set and ready for that. But yeah, thank you once again for joining me, Elton.
No, you're welcome. You're more than welcome. And thank you for letting me come along, I suppose.
Anytime, mate. I wouldn't do it without you. I don't have a fancy, clever way to sign out this week, so I'm just going to say donkey balls.